morning, you're talking about quite a serious matter, especially something that, revolves around sports in some aspects.
That's right. June is Brain Injury Awareness Month, and just thinking a couple hours before I came here, a lot of us maybe sometimes forget how important our brains are. I mean, without it, forget your iPad and your iPod and everything like that. Your brain is so important to us, and unfortunately, sometimes people go through an accident or an incident that their brain is affected, and over 6,000 Canadians are affected every year, and actually, under the age of 44, it's the #1 killer or disabler to people out there. So today we're going to meet some amazing people that have been affected with brain injuries and have fought through by learning themselves how to eat and speak once again and just do the things that we sometimes take for granted in our lives, especially as adults. And amazing stories later on this morning.
I can't wait to hear a couple of those. Thanks a lot, Jesse. We'll check in with you in a little bit.
Jesse Carlson joins us, and we're talking about Brain Injury Awareness Month. You really need to protect your noggin.
Absolutely, and whether you're playing hockey, whether you're riding your bike, which is now mandatory for people under the age of 18, Saskatchewan, we got to get on board. They still don't have that as a law there yet. But we forget how important our brain is, and sometimes situations happen that are just out of our control. And what do we do after? We go through our recovery, and then we're put onto the streets. And then what's next? And David Sullivan, Executive Director here at Manitoba Brain Injury, for your center, there are places for people to go after that recovery period. Where do they turn to, and what do they do next?
At Manitoba Brain Injury Association, once you finish your rehab, or when we think about speech and occupational therapy and physiotherapy and all of that, you find yourself alone, whether you have your family with you or alone. Your life is different. Having a brain injury does change the way you interact with the world. It's very isolating, and it's oftentimes life-changing and definitely life-altering. So what we do here at MBIA is try to support you and help you and your loved ones walk on this new beginning of your next chapter in your life. It's about relearning a lot of things. It's about adapting with a brain injury. It's a hidden disability. It's not like, suffering some vision loss or being in a wheelchair. Nobody's going to know looking at you that you have a brain injury and that you have short-term memory issues, or you forget what you're talking about and you're angry about it, and it just comes out because I don't have a filter anymore. I might be impulsive and say things, buy things. My life's different. And so what you need are those kinds of supports to help.
And for yourself, you said you offer that support not only for the person that might have gone through this injury, but also their families. And that support that person is going to need, and also helping those families go through, this is what this person's going through, and this is what you're going to see. And it may be frustrating for you, but let's work together with this.
Absolutely, yeah. Your husband, your dad, he may have been able to do this, this, and this. Today, all of that is a challenge. And he's not doing things purposely to make you mad or disappoint you or to let you down. He can't do it. Mom can't make breakfast anymore for you because she can't remember to, how do you scramble an egg on? How do you turn the stove off or on? Those things.
And also, aside from maybe dealing with people that have already gone through some injuries, you do a lot of great workshops and you go to schools. We're seeing this more and more people texting while they're driving. So you mentioned that we do go to schools and talk to people.
Right, we do, it's a party program preventing alcohol and other risk-related trauma in youth. So it's geared for students that are new drivers or about to get their license. It's supported through Manitoba Public Insurance, and we do a day session where we give information about harsh realities of what happens when you speed, what happens when you don't wear a seatbelt, and texting, et cetera, so that students make informed decisions.
There's so many things that could cause a brain injury, and just getting that awareness out there. Like over 600,000 Canadians are affected by a brain injury every year. So, bring those chances down is just one thing that we can do.
Yeah, huge numbers. Thanks a lot for that information, Jesse. We'll be checking with Jesse throughout the morning. We're talking about brain injuries today. What can you tell us?
Well, you know what? Since 1987, the Manitoba Brain Association here has helped so many people with their injuries. And, we see this nowadays, whether it's in sports-related injuries or car accidents. And, sometimes just unfortunate accidents do happen. And there needs to be a place for people to go, especially after their rehab. You need a place to turn to, maybe that helping hand. You know, some people, it's frustrating when you have to start all over again, whether to learn how to feed yourself or learn how to speak. I mean, and for your family members, they need help as well, because it's a struggling thing for everyone involved. And a great organization here all over the province of Manitoba is here for those people and the struggles that they may have. And just amazing stories that we're about to hear. So please stay tuned for the next 2 hours as we hear those people's stories.
All right. What Wilson is up to. Jesse, we're talking about Brain Injury Awareness Month, and now we get to meet some people who are dealing with that.
Yeah, you know what, we could talk all morning about the statistics and how it affects people and the numbers, but we're going to put that aside because we actually have people that have gone through some brain injuries and now how they're living their lives. And Gary Batinchuk is with us right now. And Gary, first of all, thanks very much for coming in. For yourself back in 2002, an injury to yourself, and Gary, you had to start all over.
Yeah, I did have to start all over, and brain injury is one that helped me quite a bit. And obviously my parents are the great ones that actually brought me back and brought me to the brain injury, and it really did help me so much. Before I wouldn't be able to speak to nobody or anything else, and it just opened me up, made me a greater person and everything else, what I needed to be.
You know, for yourself, I mean, and this happens to so many people that suffer brain injuries, starting over, it can go as extreme as learning to speak again and feeding yourself again. For yourself, take us back through those times, and it was a frustrating period for yourself.
Yeah, I wasn't able to. I was in a coma for like almost 4 months, and I couldn't walk, I couldn't talk. You know, the great thing is that I have my parents. Mm-hmm. My parents are the ones that brought me to the brain injury, and I'm just glad to have everybody in my life that brought me to the better part of myself. And I'm going to graduate this year, and you know, for me, I just never think of the past. I just think of the future, and the future is the best thing. Mm-hmm. And the brain injury is one of the things in the future that I'm proud of.
Yeah, and for yourself coming here to the Brain Injury Association, and that is one of the messages that you like to spread. Yeah. Not the past, yeah, but the future, exactly, and where you can go after an unfortunate situation.
Yeah. Well, right now I go to Riverview, and I go and I talk to people that have brain injuries, and you know, let them know about the future and like the best, what I've been through. Mm-hmm. Don't think about the past, think of the future. There's really great things out there, and the brain injury is one of them too. And someone does care about you, don't think of no one does, because the brain injuries, David Sullivan, everybody at the brain injuries helping out so much, and I'm just really proud to be here and speaking with you and telling about the brain injury. It helped me out so much.
No, and you know, like you mentioned, sometimes speaking about it and finding those people that that you can talk to. I mean, and for yourself now, you feel comfortable, like you said, you go to Riverview and talk to those people. Is that a hard step to go through, of being able to get out in the public and saying, I need this help, please help me? It's going to be a hard road, but just someone to talk to is very much needed.
It is very much needed, and I'm just out there, and I want people to go through the same things that I went through. Mm-hmm. You know, I went through quite a bit, and I want them to go, and I want them to think about the future. Mm-hmm. And I'm part of the board at the brain injury too, and I'm just thinking of the future, and I'm doing so much better for myself than I was before.
For yourself after graduating, what does the future look like for you?
Well, I'm going to go to Riverview.
Excellent. And
I'm going to take carpentry, and like I said, it's the future. There's always things out there for me, and I'm just so glad to be here.
Well, we're so happy that you can come and talk to us. You know, you can help me fix my deck. Can you do that? After you graduate, you're going to come to my house, we'll do the deck.
Yeah, well, my dad put in a deck for me and everything else, and he put in everything for me when I was in the hospital for 2 years, and he helped me out so much, and same with my mom.
Fantastic. It's always nice to have those friends and family so close to you in the Brain Association here. Thanks very much for coming in and sharing your story to everybody out there.
Awareness Month, and Jesse's talking about brain injuries today, and not only about receiving them, how to prevent them, but also how to rebuild your life after you get one.
Absolutely. Every year, over 600,000 Canadians are affected by brain injuries, whether it's an accident that may be on the road, whether it's a sport-related injury, aneurysms. There's so many causes out there, and it's where to go after that injury. And joining us right now, Alan Mallet is here, and you know, a while back, a situation happened with yourself, and after rehab, then it was the road to recovery. And what do you do after that, the steps that you had to take?
Well, like, you know, it was kind of like after my injury, I didn't know anything, you know, like, I mean, it was just like kind of like being a adult, but you're a little baby again because you can't do anything, and like everything was all like everything you used to do is gone now, you know. So you got to look forward. You can't look backwards. You just got to keep moving forward because, you know, every day above ground is a good day.
Absolutely. And it's difficult. Maybe some people at home, they just take things for granted, whether they're eating their breakfast right now and just feeding themselves, and don't really realize that a brain injury can take that all away. Do you remember some of the steps and maybe how frustrated it was and the help that you needed?
Oh yeah, it was really frustrating because, like, you know, I had full-time doctors at the place, and like they stretched me out and everything because I was in a wheelchair at one time. So, you know, like I came back from a far away without, you know, like just trying to do everything, learning to speak again. I had a feeding tube in my neck and learning to eat again. You know, everybody would be like, because like I'd just eat really quick, and they're like, "Oh man, he's gonna choke." I was like, "Okay, well, whatever."
For yourself now, you're close to graduating, and there's so many positive things that are in front of you right now. You had somewhere to turn. The Associate Brain Injury Association here. There's so many amazing people that helped you on your road, and now you're helping others as well.
Yeah, like, you know, like it's good going back to school, you know, because like it's just getting your mind back in order, and you know, like getting your mind back, because, you know, like I just remember like when I went to and I done math, and, you know, like I used to be really good at math, and then, you know, now it's like it's all boggled, and then it's pretty hard to learn, but, you know, you have to find little ways to remember stuff, because it's very difficult to remember things now, and, you know, you have to learn little tricks on how to remember stuff, like little tricks, and it's quite the journey, but it's coming very slowly.
But there's so many people out there that can help, and for yourself, whether it's friends or family or the people here at the association, it's great for someone like yourself that you have someone to turn to.
Yeah, the MBIA helped me out really good. Like they're actually pretty good, because, you know, there's a lot of people that just come here from the brain injury and just, like, you know, just come to talk and hang out, because it's basically like, you know, you don't really have friends after, you know, you got a brain injury. It's everything, you know, it's just, you're just there, and, you know, nobody really wants to talk to you, or, you know, you can go talk to the brain injury and be positive about that.
Well, that's great that you're about to graduate, and so many people that you can help right now. Alan might be the traffic reporter for CTV Morning Live. I know he watches us, so thanks very much for coming in here, Alan, and sharing your story.
You're welcome.
You're talking about brain injuries.
Absolutely. It's something that we need to talk with Brain Injury Awareness Month here, with the month of June, and over 6,000 people are affected in this country with injuries, and sometimes it's those that you just cannot expect to happen. Val Bergeron is our guest right now, and Val, 2 brain aneurysms that you have gone through. After your first one, really the support that you had of your friends and family, your husband helped you through it, and you were a teacher at the time.
Yeah, it really was my husband and friends that never walked away. I had friends that stayed with me and supported me. And in fact, when I had my second aneurysm, it was knowing that I had had that support and that I had to keep going, and I had to keep trying to not necessarily be the person that I was, because I'll never be the person that I was, but to be the best person that I could be again. And knowing that family and friends were supporting me, encouraged me, and helped me through the really hard times, because there were times when I said, I can't do this anymore. You have no idea how hard it is to wake up every day and not to know what day it is, not to know what your plan is for the day. And if somebody said to you, well, you know, at the end of your day, well, what did you do today? I have no idea what I did. And my husband knows, actually, not to ask me that at the end of the day, because I'll say to him, I ate bonbons and watched the soaps all day long. I did nothing today.
Yeah, that sense of being alone, and for some people out there that may have just suffered a brain injury, that support is so important. And here with the Brain Injury Association, someone to turn to and know that don't look in the past, there's a positive future ahead. That's so important.
It's really important to look forward to. And when you talk about the Brain Injury Association and the people here, the support that we get from each other is huge. It is what keeps you going. Because when you go back into everyday life and you're with everybody else, all your friends. I mean, I've had friends say to me, I know how it must feel for you. And I say to myself, and I have said to them, yes, you do, but no, you don't.
Yeah, Val, thank you very much for joining us. Your amazing story and a major inspiration for all those people. Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
All morning we've been hearing incredible stories from people that have been affected by this, and many people out there, whether it's a sport injury or an aneurysm or they've been maybe attacked or something, it's just something that now it's the road to recovery. And what do you do after that? And we have another great guest here at your son Chris unfortunately had an injury, and the road to recovery has been a long one.
Very long, yes.
But it's something that you're never going to quit on that road.
No, we'll never stop helping, supporting our son. It's been 5 years, and he's just been an amazing young man. And we got right behind him when the accident first happened, and we've just been every step with him.
For those people out there that maybe have just gone through an injury or have those, a loved one that has maybe just gone through that, it is a hard road, but that support of that never giving up and being there right when you were in the hospital room to Deer Lodge to now at home, that can go a long way, that support.
You know what, when something like this happens, the family, the friends that are around us, parents as well, the support is just incredible because you have to speak for those that can't speak for themselves. And it's something that has been very difficult, but it's been a real learning curve, and there's a lot of people that don't have support and families, and we're here as part of MBIA as well to support those people that don't have the supports, because without it, you need to have a reason to keep going.
Mm-hmm. And we've heard all morning about that keep going. You deal with what happened, you push it in the past, and you move on, because you know it's not going to be easy. And for yourself at home, there's always things to do. There's always therapy, but Chris is a fighter, and he's never giving up.
He's never going to give up. He's just been an incredible young man that anything that we put in front of him, he just continues to do well with, and his recovery's been very long. It's been 5 years, but he's just continuously surprising and amazing us. The support that we have in the community as well is wonderful. With MBIA as well as Winnipeg Regional Health, and all the different supports that we have in place have really brought him to a new level, and it's something that anybody can do with the right supports.
Chris may not be able to speak at home right now. He's been home for 3 years, but the support that you guys have given him, he knows inside that he has such strong parents and inspiration, and that pushes him. And for those people that may be watching at home, the support can help those in that long recovery.
Oh, you know what? It's the support that's so important, because you have to put forward a positive attitude, and without it, there's a lot less hope. But with the hope that everybody brings with them, by supporting everybody that has gone through brain injury, anything is possible.
An amazing mother you are, and Chris knows that at home. And if Chris is watching, 3 years at home, and just keep fighting, and you got an amazing mother right here, and the road to recovery is going to be long, but a positive one. Thanks you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Definitely an amazing mother. Thanks a lot for sharing that with us, Jesse. We'll catch you.